My name is Ava Mitchell. I'm 28 years old, and if you asked my family to describe me in one word, they'd probably say broke or cheap. Maybe frugal on a good day, but usually with that little eye roll that says they think I'm just not trying hard enough. To them, I'm the daughter who still lives in a one-bedroom apartment downtown Atlanta, the one who takes the MARTA bus or rides a beat-up old bike instead of driving a decent car. I shop at Target and TJ Maxx, repeat outfits without shame, and never post vacation photos on Instagram. Because according to my mom Susan, my sister Brooke, and even my dad Robert, I can't afford to go anywhere worth posting about.
Every Thanksgiving and Christmas, when we gather at their big house in the suburbs of Alpharetta, the one with the 3-car garage, the perfectly manicured lawn, and the early Christmas lights that could probably be seen from space, the jokes start before I even take off my coat. "There she is, our little budget queen," Brooke will say, air-kissing my cheeks while showing off her new Michael Kors bag. Mom will chime in with, "Sweetie, we saved you a seat. Hope the bus wasn't too crowded this time." Dad just chuckles and asks if I finally figured out how to adult yet. Even my younger brother Dylan, the golden child who still lives at home at 25 while building his brand as a fitness influencer, throws in a casual, "You still eating ramen, Ava?" They laugh. I used to laugh too.
Because what else could I do? What they don't know, what they've never once bothered to ask, is that the life they love to flex online, the one they call blessed and hard-earned, has been quietly propped up by me for years. That mortgage on the Alpharetta house they brag about paying off early, I covered the down payment when Dad lost his sales job after the 2008 crash, and I've been sending extra every month since the pandemic hit and Mom's retail hours got cut. My direct deposits, labeled gift so they wouldn't feel bad, are the reason the bank never foreclosed. Brooke's shiny white Jeep Grand Cherokee parked in the driveway, the one she photographs from every angle with captions like, "Adulting level unlocked." I co-signed the loan when her credit was trashed from maxed out cards.
And when the payments started coming out of my account because she forgot, no one said a word. Dad's heart procedure 2 years ago, the one with the $18,000 deductible because their insurance was garbage, paid in full by me in 3 chunks while I ate peanut butter sandwiches for weeks. Mom's girls' trip to Destin last summer, the one with the beachfront Airbnb and the matching swimsuits all over her Facebook, I paid off the credit card before interest hit. Same with the family Disney trip the year before that I couldn't join because I was too broke. All of it, me. I never asked for credit. I told myself it was what you do for family, that love means showing up even when they don't. That keeping their lights on, their cars running, their vacations funded was my way of proving I belonged, even if they treated me like the poor cousin who somehow wandered into the wrong branch of the family tree. But this year, something snapped. It was the day after Thanksgiving 2025. I was back in my tiny apartment, scrolling through the family photos Brooke had posted. Everyone smiling around the perfectly decorated table, turkey golden, wine glasses raised. Caption, "Grateful for this beautiful life we've built. Family over everything." I wasn't tagged. Of course I wasn't. And right there, staring at Mom's new kitchen backsplash, the one I'd helped pay for after their unexpected remodel budget blowout, I felt something shift. Not anger exactly, more like clarity. Cold, sharp, and long overdue. They could keep calling me broke. They could keep laughing. But the truth was, I wasn't broke. I was exhausted, drained, done being the invisible bank account behind their perfect suburban dream. So I opened my laptop. I pulled up my banking app, Chase, same as theirs, and started taking screenshots. Every transfer, every payment, every time I'd quietly stepped in so their world wouldn't fall apart. Then I opened a new email. Subject line, "A few things you should know before the next family dinner." I didn't know yet exactly what would happen when I hit send. I didn't know if they'd apologize, rage, or pretend they never saw it. But for the first time in years, I wasn't going to stay silent. Because I was
done letting them mock the person who'd been holding their entire life together. And tomorrow, they were going to find out exactly what that life had cost me.
I sat there in my small apartment downtown Atlanta, the window overlooking bustling Peachtree Street, my laptop screen lighting up my face in the darkness. The clock read nearly midnight, but I couldn't sleep. My hands trembled slightly as I opened the Chase app on my phone, the same bank the whole family uses, and started scrolling through years of transaction history. I opened a new email. 2. Susan.mitchell@email.com, Robert.mitchell@email.com, Brooke.mitchell@email.com, Dylan.mitchell@email.com, Cece, Aunt Judy@email.com, Cousin Megan@email.com, Pastor David at northpointchurch.org, Mrs. Wilson neighbor@gmail.com. Subject: Financial contributions to the Mitchell family, 2017 to present. Dear family, I'm writing this email not to argue or demand repayment.
I just want to lay out a simple truth that seems to have been forgotten long ago. What you call the life we've built was actually built on my back without ever being acknowledged. Below is a brief summary, like a financial statement, with screenshots from my Chase account. I've highlighted the relevant transactions for easy reference. Mortgage, house in Alpharetta, 2017. Down payment supplement, $28,000 from student loan refund plus part-time barista job during my sophomore year of college. 18 to 2020, 14 late payment assistance transfers totaling $19,400 when dad was laid off during the prolonged recession. 21 to 25, 36 monthly transfers of $800 to $1,200 to avoid the adjustable rate spiking after COVID. I clearly remember being 20 years old, a sophomore at Georgia State, getting a text from Mom. Dad's company laid off half the sales team. We're 2 months behind. They sent a notice. I sat down on the dorm floor, staring at my account balance of just $147. I took out extra student loans, worked night shifts at Starbucks, and wired everything home. A week later, Mom posted a family photo in front of the house with the caption, "God is good. We made it through another storm." I wasn't tagged.
Transportation. Brooke's 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Co-signer on the auto loan, Wells Fargo. Down payment gift, $9,000. 19 automatic payments when Brooke forgot, totaling $11,600. I remember the day of the dealership, Brooke and Mom testing the leather seats, chatting with the salesman. When he mentioned the co-borrower, Mom waved it off. "Oh, Ava's just here for moral support." I signed in my blazer bought from Goodwill. 3 months later, the first auto debit overdrafted my account. No one called to thank me. Medical expenses. Dad's stent procedure 2023, deductible plus out-of-pocket, $18,200, paid in 3 installments. Mom's gallbladder surgery 2024, $11,500 after part-time job insurance didn't cover enough. Obamacare gap. I know that phrase well because I read hundreds of pages of explanation of benefits.
I stayed up nights doing overtime remote coding for bonuses, while Mom posted stories feeling grateful for modern medicine from her fancy hospital room. Lifestyle and vacations, Disney World family trip 2022. I couldn't go because of work, $6,800 credit card payoff. Destin Beach House Girls Trip 2024, $4,200. Dylan's brand building gym membership plus supplements, monthly Venmo, $5,100 total. While you were taking barefoot photos on white sand, sipping margaritas, I was home eating ramen with an egg, doing support tickets at 2 a.m. to cover it. I turned down every college spring break invite because of tight budget. Now I know that budget was tight because it was flying into your family Airbnb. Total, just what I still have screenshots for, $154,300 over 8 years. I'm not listing this to get the money back. I know I'll never see a dime. I'm listing it to ask one simple question. How could you keep calling me broke, cheap, bad with money at every holiday dinner, when my money is what kept this roof from collapsing, the cars running, the vacations happening, and your perfect family image on Facebook intact? I stayed silent too long because I believed it was a child's duty, that family means help each other unconditionally. But unconditional doesn't mean unappreciated,
And it certainly doesn't mean being turned into a punchline. I'm not sending this email to hurt anyone. I'm sending it so the world you try so hard to impress, neighbors, church, mutual friends, knows the full truth too.
So the next time someone laughs that I can't keep up, they'll know who was really keeping this family afloat. I won't respond to calls or texts right away. When you're ready to talk with real respect and accountability, we can meet in public. Until then, think carefully before using the word broke again. Ava Mitchell. I read it from top to bottom. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. My cursor hovered over Save to Drafts, like every time before, then stopped. This time, I didn't save the draft. I just hadn't hit send yet. Not yet. I read the email one last time. The laptop screen reflected my face, eyes red from lack of sleep. But for the first time in years, I didn't see the familiar exhaustion. Instead, there was something sharper, more resolute. I scrolled to the bottom and added one more paragraph, slowly, word by word.
I don't expect thanks, and I don't expect repayment. I just want you to face a question I've asked myself thousands of times on sleepless overtime nights. When does family support become enabling toxicity? When does helping family stop being love and start fueling toxicity? When does unconditional become one-sided? When does one person's silent sacrifice become the perfect excuse for everyone else to stay irresponsible, keep bragging, keep mocking the very person holding the whole system together? Mom used to say to me many times, "Family helps each other unconditionally, Ava. That's what we do." I believed it. I lived it. I let it justify every overdraft, every vacation I skipped, every meal of ramen and boiled eggs while the rest of you checked in at Disney's Magic Kingdom. But unconditional doesn't mean boundless. Unconditional doesn't mean being turned into a joke at every holiday dinner. Unconditional doesn't mean being called broke while my money is what kept this house from foreclosure, the cars running, the medical bills from collections. I spent my entire 20s proving I deserved to belong in this family by paying everyone else's price. And in return, what did I get? Jokes, pitying looks, captions about grateful for this life we built that never once mentioned me. I'm done proving. I'm not sending this email to destroy anyone. I'm sending it to shatter the illusion that you can keep living this way without accountability. That you can keep calling me cheap while I'm the one paying for your summer vacations. I won't respond to messages or calls right away.
When you're ready to talk with real respect, not the "we're worried about you" that hides embarrassment, we can meet in public. I won't let the story be twisted behind closed doors anymore. Until then, live with this truth. Ava Mitchell. I read it again. My chest was tight. But not from anger, from relief. For the first time, it felt like I was breathing with both lungs. My cursor moved to send. My finger hovered, trembling slightly. I pictured Mom opening it on Black Friday morning, sitting on the new sofa with her Starbucks, planning her shopping. I pictured Brooke in bed, scrolling Instagram, then suddenly sitting bolt upright. I pictured Dad frowning, muttering, "What the hell is this?" The little girl in me, the one still craving love, whispered, "Maybe they'll apologize. Maybe this time they'll understand." The rest of me, the 28-year-old woman who built everything from nothing, answered, "They won't understand right away, but they'll have to face it, and that's enough." I remembered Mom saying when I was 22, after I sent the first big amount to save the mortgage, "You're such a good daughter. We're so lucky to have you." Then a month later at Thanksgiving, she laughed in front of everyone. "Ava's still eating cup noodles in that tiny apartment. Guess some people just don't know how to manage money." I laughed along. I swallowed it. But tonight, I wasn't swallowing anymore. I right-clicked, chose Schedule Send. Date, November 28th, 2025, Black Friday. Time, 9 a.m. Confirmation popped up. Email scheduled. I closed the laptop, set it on the tiny coffee table in my one-bedroom apartment.
Outside the window, Atlanta's city lights twinkled. Skyscrapers, traffic on I-85, a life I built without needing anyone's recognition. I stood up, went to the kitchen, opened the fridge. Not ramen this time. I took out the leftover cookies from Thanksgiving, the ones I brought to the family and Brooke teased, still can't afford catered desserts. I ate one, slowly. And for the first time in years, I felt powerful. Not because I was about to get revenge, but because I had finally chosen myself. The email was scheduled. Tomorrow morning, while the family lined up for Black Friday store openings, they'd get it. And I would sleep soundly, no more nightmares about overdraft fees or medical bills, because for the first time, I had set a boundary. And that boundary was the beginning of freedom. The morning after Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed nonstop in my old coat pocket. I was on the MARTA ride from downtown to Alpharetta, earbuds in with lo-fi to stay calm. Messages from the family group chat, the one Brooke named Mitchell Clan Heart back in college. Brooke, Thanksgiving at our place this year. Can't wait to see everyone. Turkey, fall, wine. Who's bringing what? Followed by a flood of photos, the long dining table staged perfectly, like straight out of Pinterest. Burnt orange table runner, pristine white Pottery Barn plates, a massive golden turkey in the center, surrounded by pumpkin pies, homemade cranberry sauce, and a row of Yankee Candle votives. In the background, the Christmas tree already up early, Mom's tradition ever since Black Friday sales went wild. Brooke's caption, so grateful for this beautiful home and the people who make it feel like magic. #thankful, #family first, #blessed. I stared at the screen. That house, the new granite kitchen island, the hardwood floors replaced last year, the long dining table they were showing off, all had some of my money in them. But I wasn't in the photos. And of course, no one tagged me. Mom, Ava, honey, you're coming, right? We saved you a plate. Don't be late like last year. Dad, bring that sweet potato casserole again. It was the only thing edible last time. Dylan, I'll pick you up at the station if you need, sis. Bus on Thanksgiving. Rough. I forced a smile, typed back briefly. I'll be there, bringing dessert. But inside, everything was different. On the rattling bus, I opened the email draft from last night. It was still there, complete, cold, heavy. I reread the subject line, financial contributions to the Mitchell family, 2017 to present. I added a few more to the CC list, not for revenge, but to protect myself. Aunt Judy, who always praised Mom for managing the family so well. Cousin Megan, who liked every bragging post from Brooke. Pastor David from North Point Community Church, where Mom volunteered and always talked about how God has blessed our family. And Mrs. Wilson, the neighbor who'd lived next door for over 20 years, the one Mom invited for coffee to show off the perfect life. I didn't want them blindsided. I wanted them to know the truth from the source, before the story got twisted into Ava's having mental issues, or she's always been so dramatic. I double-checked the list. 2. Mom, Dad, Brooke, Dylan. CC, Aunt Judy, Cousin Megan, Pastor David, Mrs. Wilson, Uncle Rick, Cousin Sarah. Then I opened the schedule send option. Date, November 28th, 2025, Black Friday. Time, 9 a.m. I didn't choose Black Friday morning randomly. It's the day the whole family gets up early, lines up at Target or Best Buy, phones buzzing with deals. Brooke will definitely be posting her first Black Friday haul story. Mom will text bragging, got the new KitchenAid on sale. Dad will sit with coffee reading football news. Dylan will live stream from the gym with no days off. And right at 9 a.m., while they're excited about their blessed life, the email will land. I pictured it. Mom pushing a cart at Kohl's, phone buzzing, opening it to read the subject line, her face going pale. Brooke trying clothes at Macy's, notification popping, hands shaking so bad she drops a bag. Dad at home with Dylan, both staring at the screen in silence. I didn't smile thinking about it. I just felt fair. The bus stopped near their house. I got off, took a deep breath of crisp late fall Georgia air, pine needles, distant barbecue smoke.
I walked the last stretch, carrying the box of homemade brownies, the Pinterest recipe I'd perfected so I wouldn't disappoint the family. When I pushed the door open, the smell of roasted turkey and cinnamon flooded in. Brooke ran out, hugging me tight, expensive perfume overwhelming. "You made it! Come see the table. It's even better in person." Mom kissed my cheek. "You look tired, sweetie. Still working those crazy hours?" Dad slapped my shoulder. "Grab a beer. Game's about to start. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Big one." Dylan winked. "Saved you a seat next to me, budget queen." I smiled, set the brownie box on the table, and in my head, I counted down. 12 hours left. The email was scheduled. No undoing it. I'd disabled that option. I sat in my usual seat, the corner, near the kitchen, far from center stage. I watched everyone laugh, take photos, brag about early Black Friday deals. I listened to plans for shopping tomorrow, the bigger tree this year, maybe Disney next year. And for the first time, I didn't feel like the outsider. I was the one holding all the cards. They just didn't know it yet. Tomorrow morning, when the sun rose and deal alerts rang loud, they would know. And I would be home, drinking good coffee, and for the first time in years, feeling free. I walked into the family house around 4 p.m. on Thanksgiving, the crisp Georgia air just cold enough for the scent of pine and neighbors' barbecue smoke to drift by. The McMansion in Alpharetta was already lit up with early Christmas lights like every year. Thousands of white and blue LED strands wrapped around the roofline, columns, even the reindeer bushes in the yard. Mom always said Christmas starts right after Halloween, and this year she went bigger with a new projector throwing snowflakes on the garage wall. The door barely opened before the TV blared full volume, the traditional college football rivalry, Georgia Bulldogs versus Alabama Crimson Tide, the Iron Bowl, running late this year. Dad was glued to his new leather recliner, Georgia red and black hoodie on, Michelob Ultra in hand, yelling every time the Bulldogs defended well. Dylan sprawled on the sofa next to him, phone propped live on TikTok, commentating the game for his followers. "Ava, you finally made it!" Brooke ran out, hugging me so tight Victoria's Secret bombshell perfume hit me full force. She wore a black and white sweater with Ugg boots, hair in perfect waves. "Come see the table. I outdid myself this year." The long dining table in the main room was straight out of Pinterest. Burgundy silk runner, pristine white Williams-Sonoma silverware, fresh fall flowers from Trader Joe's, and a 22-pound golden turkey center stage. Mom stood snapping photos with her new iPhone 16 Pro Max, constantly directing "Smile bigger" for stories. "Ava, what did you bring?" Mom glanced at the box in my hand, smiling that pitying way. "Homemade pie again? Sweetie, we could have ordered from Nothing Bundt Cakes. You still can't afford catered desserts?" Everyone burst out laughing. Dylan turned the camera my way. "Chat, this is my sister Ava, queen of budget baking. Y'all drop a like if you've ever brought store-brand cookies to Thanksgiving." I set the brownie box down, smiling politely. "It's from scratch. Brownies with Ghirardelli chocolate. Thought you guys liked homemade."
Brooke shrugged, flipping her hair. "We do, but, sometimes it's nice to treat yourself. You're still driving that old Honda Civic, right? I saw it parked out there. Radiator's probably about to go, huh?" Dad chimed in, eyes still on the TV. "She's frugal. Daddy respects that. But Ava, Black Friday this year has killer deals. Best Buy's got a 75-inch for $4.99. You not picking anything up? Or still tight on cash?" Tight on cash. The familiar phrase. I sat in my old seat at the table corner, the reserved spot since childhood, near the kitchen for easy cleanup. Mom poured me cheap Aldi wine, while the rest sipped an $80 Cabernet 2020 bottle I'd once helped pay off on her card. Dinner started. Turkey carved, mashed potatoes passed, green bean casserole, stuffing, can-shaped cranberry sauce. Mom swore it was homemade, but everyone knew. Conversation flowed. Brooke bragged about her new Michael Kors bag from pre-Black Friday sale. Dylan talked about his new pre-workout sponsorship. They're flying me to Miami for a shoot next month. Mom recounted the Destin trip last summer. The condo was gorgeous. Oceanfront, private balcony. We needed that recharge. Dad boasted his latest car sale clothes.
Closed a Tahoe at Sticker, commission enough to cover the new zero-turn mower out back. No one asked how I was. No one asked about remote software engineering or why I came home less. Just the same recycled jabs. Ava, you still eating Chipotle bowl, no cheese to save money? You gonna upgrade that apartment or still in the shoebox downtown? Black Friday, you buying anything or skipping again because you're watching your budget? I laughed along, nodded, ate slowly. Each jab stung like needles, but this time I didn't shrink, because in my head, I was counting down. 17 hours left. The email was scheduled, 9 a.m. tomorrow, when the family would be up at 4 a.m., lining up at Target and North Point Mall, Starbucks in hand, eyes glued to phones for deals. I looked around the table. Brooke snapping food pics captioned, "Thankful for abundance." Dylan live, Thanksgiving gains. Mom beaming next to Dad, arm around him like the perfect Facebook couple. And me, the broke daughter in the corner, knowing that abundance was built on nights I stayed up freelancing code, ramen meals, vacations I skipped, medical bills I quietly paid. When Mom raised her glass, "To family, the greatest blessing," everyone clinked. I raised my water glass too. "To family," I said, voice steady. But in my head, I added silently, "and to truth." Coming tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. Dinner continued. Football on TV got tenser. Laughter, chewing, bragging filled the air. And I sat there, strangely calm, because I knew this was the last Thanksgiving I'd sit in this corner saying nothing. Tomorrow morning, everything would change. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid. Thanksgiving dinner was hitting its peak. Turkey nearly picked clean, mashed potatoes still warm, and the TV game entering the tense fourth quarter. ESPN announcers echoed through the living room, mixing with family chatter. I sat quietly in my table corner, nibbling homemade brownie, keeping my face neutral while mentally counting down, 14 hours until the email sent. Then it started, like every year, but this time aimed straight at me. Mom set her fork down, dabbed her mouth with the linen napkin, looked at me with that classic concerned American mom smile. "Ava, honey, we need to talk. We're really worried about you." Brooke nodded enthusiastically, wine glass in hand. "Yeah, Ava, like seriously, you're almost 30 and still saying you're tight on money every time we invite you anywhere." Dylan jumped in, eyes still on TV, but mouth smirking. "Bro, you skipped Disney last year, didn't come to Destin. We get it, work's tough, but damn, live a little." Dad turned, voice low like giving advice. "Your mom's right. You work all those tech hours remotely, you gotta be making decent money. Why you always acting broke?" The word broke landed like a pin in a balloon. The table went quiet for a second, waiting for me to laugh it off like always. But this time, I didn't laugh. I set my fork down slowly, the metal clink loud in the sudden hush. I looked Mom straight in the eye. "Worried about me?" I repeated, voice even but loud enough for everyone. That's funny, because I've been worried about this family for years, and nobody ever asked why I'm always tight on money. Brooke raised an eyebrow. Drama alert? Mom forced a laugh, waving it away. "Sweetie, we're just saying, you deserve nice things too. You don't have to live like a college kid forever." I took a deep breath. This wasn't the moment to drop the full email bomb, not yet, but I couldn't swallow one more time. "Tell me something," I said, voice calm but sharper. "How do you think we avoided foreclosure twice?" The table went dead silent. Dad frowned, turning fully from the TV. "What are you talking about?" 2009, after the crash, when you got laid off. And again in 2021, when rates spiked and Mom's hours got cut. I looked at each of them. The bank sent letters, final notices. I saw them in the mail when I visited. Brooke smirked. "We worked it out. Dad hustled. Mom picked up extra shifts. That's what families do." I nodded slowly. Yeah, families do help each other. But did anyone ever wonder where the extra money came from when things got really bad? Dylan shrugged. "Stimulus checks? Unemployment? I don't know." Mom cut in, voice rising defensively. "Ava, this isn't the time. We're thankful tonight. Let's not dig up old stuff." "Old stuff?"
I repeated, voice trembling for the first time, not from fear, but from finally saying it. It's not old, it's ongoing, and I'm tired of being the punchline at every holiday because I don't have a new Jeep or beach vacation pics. Dad raised a hand. Hey now, nobody's attacking you.
We tease because we love you. That's the thing, I said, looking him dead on. Love shouldn't feel like this. The air thickened. On TV, Georgia scored a touchdown, but no one cheered. The announcers sounded like they were on another planet. Brooke muttered, "Wow, okay. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too." Mom stood abruptly, chair scraping loud. "Ava, come help me in the kitchen real quick." The signal, private talk. I followed her into the kitchen, past the gleaming granite island I'd helped pay to replace last year. The door barely swung shut before Mom spun around, whispering urgently, but sharp. "What on earth are you doing? Don't air dirty laundry in front of everyone. We don't talk money at the table, you know that." "Dirty laundry?" I whispered back, but didn't lower my voice. "You mean the truth?" Mom crossed her arms, eyes glistening, anger or fear, hard to tell. "Whatever you think we owe you, this isn't how you bring it up. Not on Thanksgiving, not in front of Brooke and Dylan." I looked at her, long. I've waited years for someone to ask. No one ever did. So maybe this is exactly when. She took a deep breath, voice softening manipulatively. "You're upset. I get it. But don't ruin the holiday for everyone. We can talk later, privately." Privately. Always privately. So the story could be twisted, denied, turned into Ava being dramatic again. I smiled faintly. The first, not forced smile. "Okay, Mom, later." I walked back to the dining room. Everyone pretended to be busy. Brooke scrolling phone, Dylan watching highlights, Dad refilling wine. I sat in my old seat. And in my head, the clock kept ticking. 13 hours and 45 minutes left. Tomorrow, there would be no more privately. I left the family house late that Thanksgiving night, catching the last MARTA back downtown. The biting late fall Georgia air seeped through my thin coat, but I didn't feel cold. One clear thought dominated. Enough. I didn't reply to the group chat next day. The fake "hope you got home safe" from Brooke or "everything okay" from Mom. I just muted everything, then went full low contact. No Christmas visit, no New Year's call, only brief replies when pushed. Busy with work, talk later. The first 2 years passed like a waking dream. I poured everything into work. As a remote software engineer for a fintech company in Buckhead, I did overtime not to bail out family bills anymore, but to save myself. I earned extra AWS certifications, then led a major cloud migration project, earning me promotion to senior engineer in 2026, salary jumping to $165K. I bought a small 2-bedroom condo in Midtown Atlanta, overlooking Piedmont Park, the first place that was truly mine without overdraft worries. But money didn't heal the wounds. On lonely nights, I still heard the mocking laughter echoing from that Thanksgiving table. I started reading about family dynamics, adult children of emotionally immature parents, the body keeps the score, then dove deep into r/raised by narcissists. I realized I was the classic scapegoat, the child blamed, ridiculed to preserve the perfect family image for the golden child, Dylan. I decided to study more, enrolled in an accredited online master's in counseling, studying nights after work. I interned at a crisis text line, then a small Decatur clinic supporting toxic family survivors. In 2028, I passed the Georgia LPC license.
I opened my own practice, Reynolds Therapy, in a cozy office on Ponce de Leon Avenue, specializing in adult children of narcissistic parents and family estrangement. And I changed my name. Not because of marriage. I hadn't even dated seriously. I simply filed with Fulton County Court to legally become Ava Reynolds. Reynolds was Mom's maiden name before marrying Dad, a gentle but final cut from the Mitchell name I no longer wanted to carry. The day I got the new papers, I stood in front of the mirror, saying aloud, "Dr. Ava Reynolds." Tears fell, but they were tears of relief. At the same time, I started an anonymous blog. It began as short entries on a Reddit throwaway, "You Invisible Mitchell." I wrote about being called broke while secretly paying family debt, about being ignored at every milestone while my brother was praised for every gym TikTok.
The first post titled, "I paid for their Disney trips and got called cheap at Thanksgiving dinner." It hit the top of r/raised by narcissists overnight. Thousands of comments. "This is my life. You're not alone. Leave and never look back." I moved to my own blog, The Scapegoat's Journal. Fully anonymous, no photos, no location. I wrote about scapegoat versus golden child dynamics, how narcissistic families use money and image for control, the pain of being called selfish for finally setting boundaries. Posts spread on Psychology Today forums, Pinterest infographics, even mental health podcasts invited me as guest. Still anonymous, voice altered. My practice filled up. First client, a 32-year-old woman called failure by her mom despite being a successful lawyer because she didn't buy as big a house as her brother.
Then a 40-year-old man who cut contact after being mocked for no kids while paying college for nieces' nephews. I listened and for the first time felt I was healing. Not just them, but myself. 3 years passed. I was nearly no contact. Only a short birthday email to mom each year. No reply when she called. I had a new circle, from master's program, midtown climbing gym, trauma book club. We did Thanksgiving at each other's homes, real cooking, no bragging photos, no one called broke. No more medical bill nightmares. I took real vacations, solo to Asheville for fall leaves, then Sedona hiking. I posted on a private Instagram, only close friends saw. Simple caption, "Peace looks like this." And the blog continued. One post went especially viral in 2028. The price of being the family ATM and why I finally closed the account. Tens of thousands of reads.
Comments flooded. This gave me courage to stop paying my brother's rent. I'm going no contact tomorrow because of this. I didn't write for revenge. I wrote so people like past me, sitting in the Thanksgiving corner, forcing laughs when called cheap, would know they weren't crazy. That boundaries aren't selfish, that choosing yourself is the bravest act. I, Dr. Ava Reynolds, finally chose myself. And for the first time in nearly 3 decades, I felt I truly belonged, not to the old family, but to the life I built. In 2028, the first post I published under the pen name The Scapegoat Therapist, titled The Invisible Child in the Perfect Family, changed everything. I wrote it late one March night after my last counseling session.
About 2,500 words, no real names, no specific location, just details too familiar to anyone raised in a narcissistic family. The child labeled difficult, overly sensitive, ungrateful, while actually carrying all the financial and emotional weight to keep the perfect family facade intact. I described Thanksgiving mockery for being broke, paying for Disney trips while told I don't know how to enjoy life, the feeling of sitting at the table corner while the brother was praised for every gym video. I posted on r/raised by narcissist at 11 p.m. Next morning, I opened Reddit and nearly dropped my coffee. The post topped the subreddit in 8 hours, over 12,000 upvotes, 3,000 comments. People shared their stories. This is literally my mom. I paid for my sister's wedding and got called selfish for not buying her a house. Finally, someone said it.
It cross-posted to r/estranged adult child, r/just no family, then r/best of Redditor updates. Within 48 hours, over 500,000 views. A week later, an editor from a major online mental health magazine, Psychology Today, messaged via Reddit mod mail. "We'd love to republish this anonymously with your permission. It's resonating with so many readers." I agreed, on condition no personal details. It republished as by Anonymous LPC with softer title, "When You're the Invisible Child in a Perfect Family." Then it exploded. Shared in Facebook toxic family groups, Pinterest infographics, TikTok scapegoat child check sounds, even major mental health influencers quoted on Instagram Reels. Within a month, over 2 million reads. Comments poured. This gave me courage to go no contact. I cried reading this because it's my life. Thank you for saying what we couldn't.
I never expected the family reaction. They didn't find out from me directly, but through classic American social media circles, mutual friends, church group, neighbors. First message from Aunt Judy, who I'd CC'd the old email. Ava, is this article about us? People at church are talking. Your mom is devastated. Then Facebook Messenger from Mom started flooding, though I'd blocked her long ago. She used a new account, probably borrowed. Mom, strange account. Ava Mitchell Reynolds, or whatever you call yourself now, I just read that awful article. How could you? People at North Point are whispering. Pastor David asked if everything's okay at home. This is humiliating.
Then a string of texts from unknown numbers, clearly Brooke. WTF, Ava? That golden child bullshit is about Dylan? He just lost a $15,000 sponsorship with that pre-workout brand because someone sent them the article. They said they don't want to work with influencers from dysfunctional families. You did this. Dylan called directly, first time in nearly 3 years. I let it ring, then listened to voicemail, his voice angry and panicked. Yo, Ava, what the hell? That article is everywhere. My manager just called, 2 brands pulled out. They Googled my name and it came up. You happy now? You're literally destroying my career to feel better about yourself? Call me back. Dad texted short. Classic low-talking American dad, but heavy. Your mother hasn't stopped crying. Whatever issues you have, airing them online isn't the way. We raised you better than this. Mom called non-stop from other unknown numbers. I blocked them all. Then a long voicemail, voice shaking between anger and tears. Ava, if this is about money again, we can talk, but putting it online for strangers to judge? Your brother is losing everything he worked for. Sponsors don't want drama. And people at Bunko Night last week asked if we're that family. I had to lie and say it's not us. You're breaking your mother's heart. I sat in my Midtown therapy office, listened to every voicemail, then set the phone down, heart racing, but not from fear, from a new feeling, validation. They didn't apologize, didn't ask if I was okay after years of silence, didn't acknowledge anything I wrote as true, only you're destroying our reputation. Dylan lost sponsorship. People are talking. Not we hurt you, just you're making us look bad. I opened my laptop, wrote the next blog post. When exposure feels like revenge, but it's actually accountability. That one went even more viral. And I knew no matter how angry they got, no matter the social media buzz, I was right to speak. Not for revenge, but for healing. For me and for thousands reading who finally felt seen. The weeks after, The Invisible Child in the Perfect Family went viral. I lived in a strange state, relieved yet constantly anxious. Phone buzzing nonstop, unknown numbers, long voicemails, messages from fake accounts. Every screen glance triggered the old inner child shrinking. Did I go too far? Am I getting revenge? I started questioning myself every night before sleep. Did I write it to heal or to hurt them? To help others or just make them feel a fraction of what I endured? I feared becoming what I hated most, someone weaponizing pain. I decided to bring it all to my own therapy. The irony of a therapist in therapy. I lay on the brown leather sofa in Sarah's office, my old master's colleague, now my Wednesday therapist. I told everything, the post, massive reads, Mom's voicemails, Dylan's lost sponsorships, Brooke's texts. I admitted feeling guilty, even knowing I wasn't wrong. Sarah listened without interrupting, then asked gently, Ava, do you feel like you're getting revenge? I was silent a long time. I don't know. Sometimes I think yes. I picture Mom crying at Bunko Night, and a small part of me feels satisfied. Sarah nodded. That's human. But ask again. Did you write it to hurt them, or to speak a truth you'd silenced too long? I wrote it to speak the truth. And the result? Thousands messaged they finally felt seen. Some said they'd set boundaries because of me. Some went no contact. Sarah smiled softly. Boundaries aren't revenge, Ava. Boundaries are self-respect. You can't control how they choose to feel about truth. Shame, anger, denial.
You only control whether you keep silencing yourself to protect their image. That line hit like a gentle punch. Boundaries aren't revenge. I repeated it in my head all week. Then the email came from a producer of a major mental health and family estrangement podcast, Where Should We Begin style, focused on adult children cutting ties. They wrote, "Dear Dr. Reynolds, we came across your article, The Invisible Child in the Perfect Family, and were deeply moved. Your perspective, both lived and as a licensed therapist, is incredibly powerful. We'd love to invite you for a fully anonymous interview, voice distorted, no names, no locations. We believe your story could help thousands struggling with guilt around no contact. Would you be open?" I read it over and over, hands shaking. The old fear rose. What if they hear it? What if they use it to say I'm publicly humiliating the family? But the new part, Dr. Ava Reynolds answered, they had decades to listen privately. They chose not to. I remembered last week's client, a 35-year-old woman sobbing because her mom called her ungrateful after she stopped paying brother's rent. I told her, your silence doesn't protect them. It only protects their narrative. Now I had to live my own advice. I replied, "Hi, thank you for reaching out. I'd be honored to participate. Fully anonymous, voice distorted, no identifying details. I won't soften the truth to make anyone comfortable, but I will speak from healing, not hate. Let's do it. Best, Dr. AR." I hit send before I could second guess. Sarah was right. Boundaries aren't revenge. They're oxygen. And for the first time in forever, I breathed deep without chest tightness. I got the first message from Mom one May morning in 2029, over a year after the article went viral and my anonymous podcast aired. From her old number I'd blocked long ago, but this time a new one. "Mom, Ava, we need to talk, in person, please. This has gone on long enough. We can fix this privately, like a family." I stared at the screen in my Midtown therapy office. Privately, there it was again, like every time before. Privately to deny, privately to gaslight, privately to save face. But this time, I wasn't the Ava Mitchell sitting in the Thanksgiving corner anymore. I replied briefly, "Okay, public place, Starbucks in Macon, next Saturday, 10 a.m. No yelling, no drama, just talk." Macon was halfway, midway from my Atlanta and their Alpharetta. A big Starbucks off I-75, busy, bright glass windows, no hidden corners for manipulation. That Saturday, I drove down early, wore a simple black dress, low ponytail, minimal makeup. I arrived 20 minutes early, picked a table in the middle near the counter, where baristas and customers flowed constantly. I ordered a venti cold brew, sat straight, laptop closed, but ready. They arrived on time. Mom walked in first, looking smaller than I remembered, more gray hair, eyes red like sleepless nights. She wore her familiar J.Crew cardigan, Coach purse clutched tight. Dad followed, still tall but shoulders slightly stooped, Georgia Bulldogs polo, face stern. No Brooke or Dylan, just them. Mom scanned, saw me, eyes lighting briefly, then dimming. She approached like she wanted a hug, but I didn't stand. I just nodded. "Hi." "Sit down." Dad pulled out a chair, scrape loud on tile. Mom sat across, hands clasped tight. The place was busy, espresso machines grinding, orders called, kids laughing, backdrop to our heavy silence. Mom spoke first, voice small and shaky. "Ava, thank you for coming. This has been so hard. Ever since that article, people won't stop talking. At church, at the club, even the neighbors." Dad added, voice low, "Your brother lost 2 more deals. Brands don't want the drama. This is hurting the whole family." I sipped my cold brew, slowly. "I'm sorry Dylan's struggling, but I didn't name anyone. I didn't lie." Mom leaned forward, eyes glistening. "We know you're upset. We get it. We weren't perfect parents. But putting it online, for strangers to judge? We can fix this. Come home, we'll talk, privately." Privately again. I set my cup down, opened my phone, pulled up an old screenshot. 2021 family group chat, the day I defended my dissertation. I slid the phone across.
Remember this? Mom looked down, eyes widened. Screenshot clear. Ava. Guys, I defended my dissertation today. Officially Dr. Mitchell. Ceremony next Saturday if anyone wants to come. Mom. So proud of you, honey. We'll celebrate when things calm down. Dad, voice note. Big game that day, Dylan's championship. Can't miss it. We'll do dinner after. Brooke. Congrats, Ava. Heart, heart. No one showed. I sat alone in the audience, doctoral gown on, clapping for myself. I looked at Mom. This is what I wrote about. Not one event. A lifetime of this. Dad frowned. It was one game. We made a mistake. You're blowing it out of proportion. I smiled faintly, no joy. One game, one graduation.
One choice that showed exactly where I stood.
Mom touched my hand. I gently pulled back. We were proud of you, she whispered. We paid for your school.
Part of it, I cut in, and I paid the rest, with loans I'm still paying, while also helping with the house, with medical bills, with vacations I never got to go on. Dad sighed. We're not villains, Ava. Families have issues. You don't air them online. I pulled a thin envelope from my bag, slid it over. Inside, copies of legal name change, new therapy license, Reynolds therapy business card. I'm Dr. Reynolds now. Mom opened it, hands trembling, read the new name, eyes blurring. You changed your name? Yes, legally, professionally, personally. Dad's voice hardened. Blood doesn't stop being blood because you signed some papers. I looked him straight. No, but blood doesn't entitle you to my silence. It doesn't entitle you to mock me for years, use my money, then demand I protect your reputation when I finally speak. Mom cried quietly, dabbing eyes with Starbucks napkin. So this is it? You're erasing us? I shook my head. I'm not erasing you. I'm refusing to erase myself anymore. The cafe stayed loud around us. Lattes called, kids running, soft acoustic music. No one glanced. But I knew there were witnesses, light, no dark corners to rewrite the story. I stood, took my coffee. If anyone asks about me, tell the truth. Tell them you had a daughter who became the first doctor in the family, and you chose a game over her graduation. Tell them you only wanted to talk when my story started costing you social points. Dad looked up, eyes red but hard. You'll regret this one day. Maybe, I said, voice calm. But I already regret every year I spent begging for love from people who couldn't show up. I'd rather regret walking away than regret staying. I turned. Mom called after, voice breaking. Ava. I paused at the door, not turning. It's Dr. Reynolds now. I stepped into May, Georgia's sunshine, warm wind blowing. For the first time, the word selfish didn't hurt. It simply felt like self-preservation. And for the first time, I felt truly free. The months after the Macon Starbucks meeting, news about the old family reached me indirectly, the way gossip spreads in Atlanta suburbs. I heard from a former client whose mom played bunco with mine. Susan no longer led Bible study at North Point because people asked too much about that article. Robert appeared less at the golf club, old buddies avoiding talk. Not because they fully believed me, but they didn't want drama. Dylan, the golden child, once nearing 20K TikTok Instagram followers, lost 3 more big sponsorships. Gymwear and supplement brands didn't want family controversy. He posted sad stories about haters and cancel culture, but views dropped hard. I didn't gloat over their pain. I just felt calm, like watching an old chapter of someone else's life close. Meanwhile, Dr. Ava Reynolds was living a new, better-than-dreamed chapter. My Midtown Atlanta practice stayed fully booked. I specialized in adult children of narcissistic toxic families, waitlist 3 months long. Clients came from everywhere. Lawyers called failures by moms despite millions earned. Engineers forever compared unfavorably to brothers. Single moms gaslit by ex-in-laws for setting boundaries. I listened, helped them see they weren't overly sensitive. The system around them was broken from the start. I no longer worked for money, though income doubled. I worked because I knew exactly how it felt sitting alone at graduation, while family chose something more important. I knew being called broke while carrying the whole family. And I knew the power of a stranger saying, "I believe you. You're not crazy." I built chosen family. This year's Thanksgiving, I hosted in my Piedmont Parkview condo. 12 friends from Therapy Peer Supervision, Midtown Climbing Gym, Trauma Book Club brought dishes. Herb butter turkey, homemade mac and cheese, pecan pie from a Louisiana friend's heirloom recipe. We ate around the long wooden table, laughed loud, took photos just for memories, not flexing. No one mocked old clothes or homemade food. No one explained why they skipped birth family holidays. Christmas. I flew to Colorado with 3 close friends, skiing Aspen, fireside hot chocolate, talking New Year dreams without judgment. I hiked solo at Amicalola Falls, stood atop the waterfall, wind whipping hair, and for the first time heard no old inner voices. You're selfish, family first, blood never fades. My real revenge wasn't making them lose face. Real revenge was living well, waking without overdraft alerts, dinners with people genuinely happy for my success, helping hundreds escape the cycle I was trapped in, looking in the mirror, seeing a strong, peaceful woman, no longer begging love from places that never gave it. I still wrote the blog, no longer fully anonymous, because many needed a real face behind the story. Latest post: the best revenge is a life well lived. My journey from family ATM to chosen freedom. Comments flooded. This is healing.
Thank you for showing us it's possible. I went no contact today because of you. I didn't reply to all, but I read every one. And I knew, no matter suburban gossip, no matter Dylan's lost deals, I had won. Not because they lost, but because I was finally free. Because I understood family isn't where you're born, but where you're loved unconditionally. And if it doesn't exist, you have every right to build a new one. And I did. It's beautiful, warm, and entirely mine. So I'll end with this question for you. Reading this, maybe sitting in some holiday corner, forcing laughs when called not trying hard enough. When the people sharing your blood treat you as optional, is staying for peace really loyalty or just self-betrayal? I chose my answer, and I've never been happier.